Hi guys, happy Monday, happy Monday. Coach V here. Welcome to another Made New Monday. This is anticipation of our new podcast episode. We have a new episode every week, Transformative Talk with Coach V, that you can find on Spotify, Apple, or Anchor. And this is our season 3 finale episode. Can you believe we have already done 3 seasons of this podcast? I consider it an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to continue to do the work that God has called me to do through this podcast. I thank you for listening every week, checking out the new episodes, even joining me here on Made New Monday. I encourage you to go back if you have not listened to the first 2 episodes, first 2 seasons of the podcast. I encourage you to go and listen to them. I really believe that there's something that you will hear that will be of a great encouragement to you on your journey to being empowered and being inspired and transforming your mindset. And so this season we've talked a lot of great things. We really dug deep into some topics that are really going to be a great setup for what is to come in season 4. I'm not going to talk about those topics just yet, but I hope that you would go back and just listen to this season and some of the things that we talked about in preparation, really, that even lead to this last episode for this season. That we talk about not letting anyone talk you out of your destiny. And we talk about the definition of destiny. We talk about fruit and fertilizing that fruit, being in a season or a state of bearing fruit that results in there being offspring when that fruit is deeply rooted. When that seed is deeply rooted, it can reproduce. And then we have all this great fruit that people can eat from. They can learn, they can grow, they can glean from us. We have fruit that people will love to eat. It's not low hanging fruit. It's not stuff that easily falls to the ground that, may rot, but people are willing to do the work and seek God and get to the higher branches to get that good sweet fruit that has matured and is ripe for the picking and ready to be eaten of. And then, when they do eat that good fruit, they're pleased, their stomach doesn't hurt, it's all good. And so we've talked about several things this season. We talked about how your family history doesn't dictate, your future and the things that God has yet to come for you. We talked about what it means to be empowered in this season. We've talked about the importance of having a proper perspective in things, the way that we look at things, how that shapes and molds how we talk and how we show up, and the influence and impact that we have on other people. We've talked even about how we need to inspect our village. It takes a village to go through this life. We got to make sure we have the right people with us on this journey, and how we may need to take some time to evaluate the village, who belongs in that inner circle and then who belongs in that circumference. We talked about how we define ourselves, the things that we say to ourselves. We talked about really taking the time to evaluate that, not being defined by our past and the mistakes and the choices that we've made, because that is not how God defines us. I shared in, I think it was episode 6, a very personal experience that I had with imposter syndrome, not really realizing that the things that I was talking about in these episodes, I was experiencing as I prepare for a big project that is going to be released hopefully in July. How I felt like I was not good enough, not smart enough. What was I saying that was any different from anybody else? What made me so special? What made this project so special? I really had a bout with that, and it caused a lot of fear and for me to completely stop working on the project. And God really had to deal with me. And I realized as I was going through my notes from old podcast episodes, I was like, I'm really walking this out. So I have learned in this season that I've had to take my own advice. I've had to go back and, look at these notes and start to apply these things to my own life. And so that's why I always like to say that you are not on this journey by yourself. I am on this journey with you. I am learning, I am growing each and every day. I am just here to share the things that God has allowed me to learn. I'm sharing with you the things God has shared with me and that He's released me to share with you on your journey where you feel stuck, where you're feeling stagnant, where you're feeling like there's nothing going on, there's no movement. He's allowing me to share these things so that you can continue on your journey, that you can continue to grow, so that you can flourish and be productive and walk into all these great things that God has for you. And so I'm on this journey with you. I'm walking right alongside you. I don't have all the answers, I don't have it all figured out, but God is allowing me to learn as I go and grow as I go. I talked about things that we carry with us from our past, and they impact the ability to really walk into the fullness of everything that God has for us. And so we made a decision in this season that we're no longer carrying anything or anybody that is not directly connected to our purpose and all of the things that God has for us. We talked about the fact that we need to just take the time to unpack some of the foolishness, the negative mindsets, the negative self talk, the self doubt. We need to take the time to unpack that stuff and make room for some new things. So we're willing to leave some old things behind so that we can embrace and enjoy and experience some new things in our lives, some new people, have some new relationships, people that can help support us and guide us on this new leg of our journey and the things that we're about to encounter. We talked about reaching our maximum capacity. We got to know when our cup is empty, when we don't have anything to give. We got to learn to give to ourselves first. We've learned that no is a complete sentence, that we don't have to explain, justify, or apologize, that we have to remain full. Give to ourselves first. That is not selfish. That is the most unselfish thing that we can do. We talked about that this season. And we wrapped up the season in learning how to forgive ourselves first, knowing that God has forgiven us. And so we forgive ourselves. And when we do that, then we have more of the capacity to forgive others. Offer forgiveness and seek forgiveness. We learn that we are more than enough. We are enough, that we're going to operate in faith. We're going to show up as the highest version of ourselves, that we're not going to let the world's standards and what they say make us feel like we are inadequate, that we are inferior, that we're less than, we are not qualified, we are not good enough, that we are not smart enough, that we are not capable. Those are all lies from the enemy. We are going to stand up and say that we are enough, that we always have been and we always will be more than enough. And so in this last episode, we just talk about we're not going to let anything talk us out of our destiny, that no one is keeping us from producing good fruit but us. So we can change that and say that there is no one keeping Vanessa from producing good fruit but Vanessa. I'm the only one that's stopping that. So when I continue to speak life into myself, when I continue to say that I am enough and believe that and evaluate the things and the people around me, when I get out of my own way, when I get out of God's way, that I can see the doors and the opportunities that are being afforded to me. The things that I have allowed myself to believe because I'm talking negatively to myself, I'm doubting, I'm walking in fear, I'm allowing things to distract me, and I'm intentionally allowing things to distract me to keep me from doing what I know I need to be doing, or I'm comfortable in that dysfunction. These are things that if I'm not careful, I have to be mindful because it could be keeping me from my destiny. So I got to change that. I got to get out of my own way. I got to get out of God's way. I got to change the way that I talk, the way that I show up. I've got to know that God qualifies me and enables me when the time comes, he will show up right on time, and he will match his super with my natural. He'll do the things that I cannot do, that his strength is made perfect in my weakness. So I will always be enough, and I will always be able to do and reach my destiny and produce that good fruit, because God is always moving behind the scenes. He's always refining me, and He's always removing the things that are not of need in my life, so that He can put the things that I do need in its place. And so He enables me and empowers me at the right time. And so it's another great episode that we are wrapping this season up with. I hope that you have enjoyed this season of Transformative Talk with Coach V. I hope that you will join me for season 4 of Transformative Talk with Coach V. Um, it's been a labor of love. It has pushed me and challenged me in ways that I did not imagine that it would push me and challenge me, but I'm grateful for the challenge. I'm grateful for the push. I pray that it is helping you. I pray that it's blessing you. I pray that you will share the podcast with others, that you will get connected to me. Check out my website, vanessaogreen.com, and sign up for updates on masterclasses that are coming up, the blog that I am relaunching finally after all this time. Stay connected with me on Instagram, on Facebook. Connect with me even on TikTok. I'm doing TikToks every day to keep you inspired, keep you empowered, and to help transform your mindset. And so continue to just stay with me. I'm excited for the things that God is doing, the new things that He will be introducing, and I would love to have you along for this ride. Thank you for joining me for another Made New Monday. Check out this week's episode of Transformative Talk with Coach V. The podcast is entitled Don't Let Anyone Talk You Out of Your Destiny. Catch up if you hadn't listened to uh, the season. Catch up with the first 2 seasons. Whatever you got to do to get yourself on the journey. Let me know how I can support you. CoachV1@yahoo.com. Take care, you guys. Remember, today is a great day to be made new, and I am always, always rooting for you. Until next time, take care.